Today we're talking about Cal Raleigh versus Aaron Judge, more specifically, what it means to be great.
So we're going to dive into their story, where they came from, and the tight-knit MVP race. We're going to give our personal opinions about this one. This one's going to get juicy, guys.
I have a pretty strong opinion about who I think should be MVP.
I do as well.
All right, well, in that case, let's get into it.
Let's go.
Hit a pen out, pour up heavy. In the lamp on a Eddie. I got 3 O's, run a valley.
So first, we're going to give you a little overview on each player. I'll do Cal, he'll do Aaron Judge, and just kind of give you guys some background on where they came from and, like I said, their story. So let's learn a little about Cal. So Cal, as many people know, is from North Carolina, a small town in North Carolina. He went to Smoky Mountain High School. In his senior year, he hit .469, which I don't know what division he was in, I'm sure. I mean, North Carolina can be pretty
good baseball.
Good baseball. And he's from a baseball family. He also played basketball in high school, which that's fun to think about. Cal Raleigh, big dumper on the basketball court.
Big dumper, backing you down.
Pause. Backing you down. That's crazy. Okay.
Probably worked.
Yeah, no, it works. He comes from a baseball family. His father, Todd, was a collegiate baseball coach at Western Carolina and Tennessee. His uncle was Matt Raleigh, played in the minor leagues. So then he went up to Florida State University. 2018, he led FSU with a 326 batting average, 75 hits, 13 homers, and he started all 62 games, I believe all behind the plate as well. Maybe he DH'd a little bit, but mostly he was behind the plate because I know a big thing about him getting drafted was he was a catcher who could actually hit but play really elite defense, which you've seen carry on into his pro career. 2018, he was drafted by Seattle in the 3rd round, 90th overall. And he progressed through the Mariners minor league system before getting called up to the majors. Of course, we know now he made his debut in 2021. He's a switch hitter, and this year was his big breakout campaign. But people kind of forget he won the Platinum Glove Award last year, and that's actually where I got to meet him. This is kind of funny. I got to meet Cal last year at a little it was a meet and greet that we were doing content for Rawlings at the MLB store in New York City, kind of near the headquarters. And it was like a meet and greet with him and a few legends, but Cal was the one we all knew. I think there were some big time guys there. I wish I could remember, but Cal was the current player who we all knew. And it was oh, cool. The catcher from the Mariners is here. Right. It was oh, the catcher. He's good at defense.
The West Coast team. You don't really hear
the guy who hit that walk-off for them to send him to the playoffs in 22. So that was pretty cool. And I went up to him, was hey, what's up, man? Good to meet you. And he's oh, dude, I've seen your videos before. They're pretty cool. And I was thanks, Cal.
That's a cool moment.
That's a cool moment. So obviously that was last year. A lot has changed. He won the home run derby, of course. He joined the rare club of 60 home runs, blah, blah, blah. You guys all know this stuff. You know his stats, you know everything. But we're going to really we're going to dig deep into what it means to be great, because as you all know, it's a lot more than what it says on the stat sheet. But that's part of it too. So let's give a little rundown on Aaron Judge.
All right, so getting to Aaron Judge, I say this as I'm wearing a Red Sox thing, and probably should cover that up. But Aaron Judge was born in Linden, California. He played baseball, basketball, and football. I mean, the dude's huge.
Talk about someone backing you down. That's a guy I wouldn't want to get back down.
No, I would not. Imagine lining up against him on the football field. I mean, that's unbelievable. He had football offers as well, which doesn't surprise me. But, of course, he chose to play baseball, as we all know. He ended up going to Fresno State. His freshman year, he batted .358. 38 runs, 67 hits, which is crazy, which led his team. In 2012, his sophomore year, he was first team All-Western Athletic Conference, again, second straight year, and won the 2012 TD Ameritrade College Home Run Derby, hitting 16 home runs across the board. His junior year, which was kind of a really big year for him, he led the team in categories, which is 12 home runs, 15 doubles, 36 ribbies, collected 76 hits in college, which is crazy. Walked 35 times, which is also crazy. No one wants to pitch to the guy.
Yeah, that's maintained consistent.
Yeah, exactly. Over his collegiate career at Fresno State, Judge also posted stats as .346 batting average, 41 doubles, 70 home runs, and 35 stolen bases, which is kind of crazy.
That's a lot.
It is a lot for him.
Big strides.
Yeah, big strides. He was drafted first round, 32nd overall by the New York Yankees, as everyone knows. And his MLB highlights and achievements, I mean, they're a crazy list. He debuted in 2016, homered in his first at-bat, which is crazy.
I remember that.
Which doesn't surprise me at all. His rookie breakout year, 52 home runs, 114 RBIs, 284 batting average, and above 1,000 OPS, which is crazy as your first year. Unanimous AL Rookie of the Year, finished second MVP voting as his first year, which is crazy.
That was behind Altuve, right?
Yep,
so that was a debatable MVP as well.
Debatable.
Probably should have been Judge, but that's a different topic.
That's a crazy start to the year. And then 2022 is a historic season. He had 62 home runs, as everyone knows, breaking Roger Maris' AL record, multiple All-Star selections, Silver Sluggers, led league in home runs multiple times, and in 2024 became the fastest player ever to reach 300 home runs. So we're going to dive into this one, guys, and this is going to be a really cool one here. I mean, both these guys have crazy stats, and I'm really excited to get into this one.
This is one of those ones where it's the the MVP race is depending on what you value, I think, right?
I agree with that.
Like, at least the voters, that's how they're probably going to look
The way
at
I
it.
view it is like, I think Raleigh is so impressive because everyone knows a lot of the MLB is full of catchers that, they're on a lot of teams for their defense, and that's the perk of it. Raleigh, it's a lot different. Like, you don't see a lot of catchers with this kind of offensive power. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about 62 home runs as a catcher, and it's just crazy that he's also good behind the dish. You don't see that a lot at all. And like you mentioned earlier, he's almost underrated still. I think it has a lot to do with playing in Seattle. East Coast time, Central time, you don't really catch those games. But now in the playoffs, I think he's getting his name out there a lot more. And a lot of people were surprised with this year, but he's had a lot of good years in the past as well. I think he's hit 25 home runs most of his years, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, if we're just looking at his stats real quick, he has hit 27, 30, 34, 60, not including his rookie year. So he's hit above 25 home runs every single year.
So it reminds me of Perez when I think what did Perez have that year?
48.
48, which was crazy.
He was old too.
Which was crazy at the time, but that wasn't like outlandish because he was always a stud. But for Raleigh, it's the same thing where this one is a step up of Perez, but it's not outlandish to say that he was capable of doing this. I'm sure his teammates thought the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he did double his home run total from the year before, which is insane. I'm curious to see if he keeps it up, but that's not what we're talking about today. I think the biggest thing we want to talk about is what people really value and what we perceive as greatness. They're both great. They're both great in their own respects, especially this year has been, a year of home runs, a year of numbers, a year of, underdog stories, which is really exciting. I think a lot of people value MVP as an underdog, or not an underdog story, but just the best story in a way. A lot of times, I think that's why Altuve won in 2017.
Sure.
I mean, there's debates on like his stats are amazing, but Judge had an insane year, and Judge's year has just continued. And obviously, we can talk about voter fatigue and that kind of thing. You see that in the NBA all the time with LeBron, could have won MVP every single year. Not every year, but you know what I mean.
Curry, LeBron, they could win it every year.
But so sometimes it's like it's a guy's chance to win MVP. I know we probably have two different takes on who it should be, but I think before we get into our takes, we should just talk about the stories behind the guys and essentially like what the voters, what the public is perceiving from each guy. So why don't you tell me how you perceive Aaron Judge in this season he's having?
All right, so to me, he won MVP already, and this year is better than that. So that to me speaks volumes because that year he had when he won MVP was phenomenal, and it was almost never seen, especially in this generation of baseball. So for me right now, it's 50 home runs plus again. 1,100 OPS, leading the league in average OPS, and as well, it's not like he didn't have a crazy home run year as well. He still had 50-plus home runs, which is crazy. And for me, if you're going to judge based on past MVPs, if you're going to give him the MVP, I think he deserves it just because of the fact that he won MVP a while ago, and now this year's better. And that's just crazy to me to say. And to me, I think he's the best right-handed hitter of all time and the best hitter I've ever seen in my life on this planet. So for that, that speaks volumes to me. A guy like that to just come out and just play and stay consistent with who he is and just continuously year in year out get better. And do you want to reward the guy for getting better as already the best hitter in baseball, or do you want to take a step back and get in a rally?
Yeah, I think the way I look at it is MVP is a year-to-year award,
right?
But the storylines do play a big part in it.
For sure.
And I know they're not supposed to take into account postseason performance. And Judge actually had a really good postseason.
He did.
But they're not playing
and he also
anymore.
didn't hit for power. He did. He still had, I think, above 1,000 OPS. But, he wasn't hitting the ball in the park like Vladdy is right now. He was doubles, getting singles, getting on base when they needed him the most, which was the big knock on Judge, was that he couldn't perform in the postseason. And this year, I think he batted above 300, maybe even above 300. I think it was 400, maybe.
Yeah.
And that, to me, also speaks volumes to who he is as a player and just getting better year in, year out.
It's interesting because we're going to get a bigger sample size from Cal to prove like what he was worth. I think right now he's performing kind of how people expected. He's not doing anything. I've been saying he's not hitting a home run. He's not doing what Vladdy's doing right now, but he's kind of right at that level where I think people expected him to be.
He's exactly where I would expect him to be for sure.
If you just look at the odds on certain websites, like you got Judge favored in one, Judge favored another, Raleigh favored in one, Raleigh favored in another. It's pretty 50-50. I say, if I had to guess, I think it's a little more favoring Judge, maybe like 55% to 45%.
Yeah.
Because of, his batting average, his OPS.
It's crazy, man.
Offensively, what he's doing is unreal, and he's done it for 5 years, 6 years straight. So I think, personally, if we're just going based off of gut and who I would vote for and who I want, it's Cal. I think it's Cal. I want Cal, though. That's the problem. I'm a little biased and I want Cal to win, but I'm admitting that. Like, I'm definitely biased, but I love his story. I love like what he's doing behind the plate day in and day out at top 3 catcher, top 5 catcher in the league, like level.
Yeah.
I think, again, though, he's hitting 247. So it's tough to give someone, it's 100 points almost.
But piggybacking on you is bias in this voting this year almost helps because it's so pick'em where it's like, the bias is going to almost save whoever wins this award, I feel like,
I think, and I think if we're talking about just on paper, what is actually judged is judged. But if we're looking at the intangibles and certain things, like it's hard to kind of quantify how elite a catcher is behind the dish. I'm sure there's ways to do it, but from just from our perspective, you're just like, oh, that guy's a really good catcher. It's a brick wall back there. He throws people out. I'm sure there's a lot of stats. I don't want to dive too deep into that because it's hard to compare a catcher to an outfielder, except when you're comparing at the plate.
Right.
So
for me, it's Judge first to get out of the way first off. But I'll tell you about Raleigh. For me personally, I mean, it is so impressive for a catcher to be this good, and I keep saying that, but I want to really emphasize that just because they're getting in the game every inning, and they're on their knees, and they're bending every single game, and it's like just so wearing on the body. And for him to do that and still be a top-tier catcher defensively, but also play offense at this level, I mean, that's something that I don't know if I'll ever see again.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is so impressive. However, with that being said, I think that you have to give it to Judge. I mean, the year he's having is astronomical. What he bat? 331. And 331 nowadays, 10 years ago, that's like batting 600, dude. Like, truly. Like, no one really cares about average as much anymore. And back to Raleigh, though, I do have to say, what do you bat?
247.
247. So you can bat 247 with 62 home runs because you can go 0 for 5, 0 for 4, 0 for 6, and then 3 games after that have 6 home runs. You wash away that 0 for streak. You know what I mean? So that, to me, speaks volumes. But again, Judge, I mean, the numbers are off the charts. 1,100 OPS, 331 batting average, 53 home runs, which is 4th in MLB, top 5 in home runs again. And of course, what I think is really big about Judge as well is that he is the leader in that clubhouse, and I'm not saying Raleigh's not, but Raleigh's got Julio, like these other guys, Arozarena and these guys, and I'm not saying the Yankees don't have guys because they do, but Judge is who everyone looks up to, and that to me is just why he deserves it. I mean, the year he's having is just insane, and I don't know if we'll ever see a year like this again for both sides, but Judge to me is just, I want to say the clear favorite, but that's just, again, bias for me, but to hit the way he did and just out, and then as well with the playoffs, I mean, he was phenomenal in the playoffs, and that, again, that was a knock on him, and he's able to get that off his shoulder, and you got to reward a guy for that.
I think what's going to be funny is whoever wins, almost half the people will think it's the wrong choice.
Yeah.
Like almost half of the public will be like, that's not who I had. It's that close.
And I'm arguing with, not arguing, but I'm talking with you about it right now, and anyone that comes to the plate and is like, Raleigh deserves it, I will never be like, you're right, he doesn't, like whatever. But they both deserve it, which is a weird thing to say. You can, normally most years you can pull strings and be like, this guy deserves it because of this, and it's like not even an argument. This is like, whoever gets it deserves it, and that's a really cool thing in baseball right now. It's a good topic to talk about in the game of sports. I mean, everyone loves it. Everyone loves a tight MVP race. You almost see it every year in the NBA, in the NFL, but in baseball it's kind of rare. One guy's numbers always jump off the charts, and you kind of take that. But this year it's 2 historical seasons. And
on the topic of greatness, I think what's interesting is Aaron Judge has the longevity aspect. That's a huge part of greatness. Right. I mean, obviously Tom Brady's who Tom Brady is, but a big thing that you can't argue against is he did what he did for so long, and Judge is so far in his sample size. I mean, what he's doing, 2017 on, so 8 years, that's consistent. That is greatness. He's being great every year. Cal is having a great historic year, and Cal's been great his whole career, but like he's really getting the recognition now. So it begs the question, what are people going to value more? I think the voters, at least, because it's not up to us.
No, I think that the one knock on Judge would be his defense. I mean, he was hurt, his arm was hurt. People were saying he's a liability in the outfield, and I honestly think that's just because the way he looks in the outfield. He's 6'7", but he's 6'7", and he's so big that he's not sprinting the balls because he didn't have to. You know what I mean? And that's going to be the knock on him. I think is his defense.
Well, the thing is, he's not an elite defender.
No.
He's a good, if you just look at the stats, I don't know. I'm guessing from the layman's perspective, he's a solid, maybe slightly above average defender,
definitely.
maybe average. But regardless, he makes up for it at the plate. Whereas you see Raleigh is an elite defender, and he's having an elite season, especially when you talk about power, which is the most important thing in today's baseball.
Yeah, he's a pedestal of a defensive catcher, and this year is just, like you said, it's a historical season. But for Judge, just to go over his playoff stats, I have him pulled up in front of me right now. 1,200 OPS, 500 batting average, 13 hits, 1 home run, which is kind of crazy. 7 RBIs, 5 runs scored in 7 games. That is crazy, and I wish they were still in just for the fact of seeing what he would do. Wait, that's another thing that I would like to look up, and you guys tell me about this. But people pitch around Judge. I'm not saying people don't pitch around Raleigh, but I feel like they pitch around Judge a lot more, and Judge doesn't get the same opportunities that Raleigh got this year. And you can kind of.
I mean, Judge has led the league in walks. I mean, he definitely led this year. He led last year. He led 3 years ago. He even led in 2017. So that's something.
Yeah,
that's 124 at bats that are walks.
Walks. So like, think about that. I mean,
Raleigh. I mean, just to kind of compare it, he's looking at about. He had like almost 100 walks this year. He's looking at about like 70% or 60% of the walks that Judge is getting. So that's 30 to 40% more at bats.
Barry Bonds-esque.
Yep. So it's kind of a little Barry Bonds-esque. I don't know. I think you're totally right. I don't know if he gave anybody a solid answer. I think, whoever wins it deserves it.
Deserves it, for sure.
I think it could go either way.
For me, I take Judge every day of the week. It was never really a question for me. That's just because I just watch this guy play so much and just watch his presence in the box is something special. I feel like when Raleigh's up to bat, it's spectacular. It's awesome. And especially towards the end of the year when he was trying to break the record, everyone was up in the seats. But every time Judge is up to bat, everyone's on edge. Everyone's on edge because when he hits the ball, no matter where it is, if it's a home run, if it's a double, if it's a single, he cracks the bat. I mean, it's a different sound, and that's just crazy to me. Like every single thing he does, it's scary. It's almost scary. As a baseball fan, it would be a real shame for this season to kind of not get washed away, but almost washed away.
I don't think not only will Cal never do this again. I don't think anyone will do this. At least for a couple decades.
Of course. I mean, I could see Judge hitting 60 home runs next year, but, he's not a catcher.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, That's the thing about Judge, though. I just spazzed out, but that's the thing about Judge, though, is like every single year, he could hit 60 home runs.
Yeah. So does that actually hurt him? It kind of does.
It kind of does.
This year.
It kind of does.
But it'd be so crazy if he gets second again.
He's fighting against himself. You know what I mean?
I mean, dude, in 2017, he had 52 homers, led the league. And 127 walks, led the league, and his OPS was over 1,000. I mean, and that was a worse year, and he got second in MVP, and he probably should have won that. It's so hard. It's hard. I wish I was like a nerd. I wish I could give you stats and really back it up. I'm just talking about storylines.
It's even harder when you are talking about it and looking into it because you're like, oh.
You look at one stat, you're like, oh, yeah, Raleigh. You look at another stat, you're like, oh, dude, Judge.
Judge, yeah. It's such a hard conversation, but I love it, I love it, and it's Judge, man. It's got to be. I don't know. I think that playing on the West Coast like they do with any sport, like I even like Washington, the football team as well, like a couple years ago when they were good, like it's a lot more quiet. Yeah. Unless you're from around there. You don't really hear a lot about it. Being from the East Coast, being from Central Time, even from where we are in Arizona, you don't hear a ton about it. They're not as glorified as these main teams. But now that Raleigh's on the board, I mean, it's crazy to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubting Raleigh has the power to compete with Judge, especially this year. At least the power stats.
Right.
It's just everything else. But then it's like, I don't know. We're going in circles.
We are going in circles. That's the conversation, and that's why it's juicy because it's so hard to kind of get a definitive answer here. But I don't know. It's a presence thing for me. It's a year in, year out thing for me. It's to be better than you were the year before when you were so great last year and then the year before that. That to me is just, again, speaks volumes. It's just crazy for him to be that good again. And to me, what is greatness as well is getting better and I said that earlier, but getting better year in, year out, and Judge continues to do that. And I look forward to what he's going to do next year as well, but this year's obviously not over yet. And again, you say the same thing for Raleigh. Like Raleigh got better this year as well, but Judge, I mean, he's MVP discussion every single year, and for him to have a better year or his best year yet, that is crazy to me.
Yeah, I guess we'll know when they vote. We'll know who's the real MVP.
I'm going to vote.
You're going to vote?
Yeah, I'm on the board.
Judge. You vote for Judge now. I mean, I don't even know who's on the board.
I don't either. I think it's like
these guys are.
And like Jeff Passan.
I could call Jeff. I got Jeff's number.
You do? Call him
Imagine
right
I
now.
just called him.
Call him right now. See if it answers.
He gave me his number at the
Call
All-Star
him right
game.
now. That'd be sick. Call him right now.
He gave me his number, but I never texted him who I was, so he probably wouldn't
Oh, he
answer.
wouldn't know.
Which is on me. But he's a cool guy. Jeff Paston's he's like, hey, anything you need, just like hit me up.
Hey, Jeff, if you're answering, like, call in, bro.
I'm sure Jeff has a great answer.
I'm sure he does too. I listened to part of my take this past week, and he's always great. He's such a smart guy, and his writing skills is phenomenal. Talk about a guy that lives a life, though. I was listening the other day, and he was sitting in the locker room right next to Kyle Riley, and they were watching that play against the Brewers off the wall, and I guess Riley had a cool reaction to that. He was like, "I've never seen it before. What just happened?" Which I'm sure every single baseball fan said the same thing. But
yeah,
you know the play I'm talking about. With
yeah, I
Frelick?
know exactly what
that
you're
was
talking
crazy.
about. I even got to spend some time with Jeff in London.
You did.
Strangely enough,
How was he?
He was super cool, bro.
Yeah.
I can't really. This is weird. I can't really talk about why I was in London. I guess I could, but this is a public. I don't know. It's a contract.
You guys.
You'll know about it later on in like a year, but
It's lame.
Yeah,
It's lame anyways.
it's weird. Yeah, I got to spend some time with him, and we'd be in a car ride for like an hour, and it was one of those like British cars where you're like facing each other, and we're just chatting it up.
That's cool. I mean,
Talking
ball.
talking ball. Telling me
ball.
about his son who's going to Williams College, I think,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Amherst. One of
the two.
Williams. I think it's
one of the
Williams.
smart schools.
I think it's Williams, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's where Duncan Robinson went. He was
Yeah.
like, how'd you know that? And I'm like, I'm smart. And I was like, yeah, I know things. Another funny story I forgot to add was we were walking through the concourse during the All-Star game, and it was the night after the home run derby. I think it must have been the All-Star game that day. And we were just walking through the concourse to our seats, and a kid comes up to me. He's like, oh, dude, I've seen your videos. I was like, oh, thanks, man. He's like, yeah, Cal's like my brother. I was like, what? And I'm like,
yeah, show
I'll
the picture of
There's
that.
a
It's funny.
carousel on Instagram he posted. Here, let me find
It
his
is.
name.
It is funny. Dan showed me this a couple weeks ago, and it was funny to see.
So his name is Todd. You probably learned about him when he was catching, and I'm in a carousel.
Didn't he not even tag you?
I think he tagged me. I actually don't remember, but he must have tagged. No, he must have tagged me. 'cause
Oh,
then
that
I
was
followed
a
him.
dumb thing for me to say.
No, he did. So I'm in a carousel, and it's just like greatness. Like him and his family, him catching, selfie with Ellie, selfie with Tatis, and just me. Just a selfie with me in between the carousel, and to Bobby Witt Jr. I was like, dude, shout out Todd. Him with Livy. And then that's crazy. Then another picture of him and his dad and Cal. So shout out Todd.
Are they,
man.
Are they?
That was
I mean,
fun.
not to be weird. Are they like a big family? Like kind of everyone is everyone their
Tall?
family? Yeah, tall. Like
Yeah, Todd was pretty tall.
Yeah.
He was tall. He was a little skinnier. He wasn't
yeah, that's
like,
what I thought. I mean,
big dumper build.
and it was
yet,
so
but
cool how he caught for him at the home run derby. That was really cool.
He's good though. I think he's like a top prospect. I
sure
don't know
he's good.
what year he is, but he's definitely. I think he lives in North Carolina. They call him Little Dumper. That's pretty funny. I don't know if I'd like that one. Little Dumper, but I mean, I'm sure he'll probably go D1
for sure. I mean,
if I was a coach, I'd be like, yeah,
Cal's his brother just hit 60 home runs.
Look at those genes, yeah. So
again, we kind of talked in circles, but you guys try to talk about this with your friends. I mean, I'm sure you guys will talk in circles too. I'm sure some will have a higher opinion and a more discreet and demanding opinion with that. But you talk in circles with this conversation, and it's hard. It's hard to kind of come up with someone. And I'm sure everyone's answer is very similar. But like you said, everyone's going to be 50-50 on this one. It's going to be someone's going to be upset, other side's going to be happy, this side's going to be happy, this side's going to be upset. I mean, it's just going to be crazy how this one plays out, and I'm interested to see what the Mariners do in the postseason.
yeah. So with that, drop a comment down below. As you guys know, who stick to the end, we're doing a $100 Baseballism gear giveaway every single video. Shout out Baseballism. We're always rocking them. I think they have a bunch of teams with that design.
Yeah, they do. So I don't think they have every MLB team quite yet. I think they're working on it.
There's
But
Mariners. I know they have Mariners.
They have Mariners. They have a lot of like the mainstream teams, I would say. But this thing is
like
really
that.
cool, and it's also
reversible, right?
reversible too as well. So I mean, shout out Baseballism per usual.
Yeah.
$100 giveaway.
So comment down below if you give us your take on Judge versus Raleigh, or just drop your Instagram handle and we know how to hit you guys up. Just comment on this video. We really appreciate it. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, just got to hop over to the YouTube and
Right.
subscribe. Yeah, appreciate it, guys. We're at 250 subscribers.
Let's go, guys. We're moving.
Couple weeks in, we're 250 subscribers.
moving.
Let's keep it rolling. You guys are here from pretty much the beginning. So appreciate you guys. Let us know your take on it. And we'll see you guys in the next episode very soon.
Very soon, guys.
Peace.
Peace.
Hit a pen, I pour up heavy. In the lamb on a Eddie. I got 3 O's, run a valley. In New Dior, never.